Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session in Mendelian genetics. With the introduction with the terminologies, we are moving on directly into Mendelian genetics. Gregor John Mendel was born in Bern, Austria, in a poor farmer family. And because of his family background, he was interested, and he also was interested in farming, etc. And that is what made him to or got him interest to work in pea plants later. After completing his university course in philosophy, he entered the Augustinian monastery and was ordinated as a priest at the age of 25. After that, he went to University of Vienna to take up a formal course in physics, maths, and natural science. And after his university course, after completing it, he returned back to Bern in 1854, where he was appointed as a substitute teacher in science. In 56, he began his experiments in pea plants in garden peas, and after 7 years of painstaking, that is what is to be noted. He did his experiments. He conducted his experiments. He repeated his experiments. He repeated it many times to get the same results. He did the same thing continuously for 7 years, and his findings was presented before the Natural Science Society of Bern, and the papers which was entitled as Experiments on Plant Hybrids. Even though his papers were published by the Natural Science Society in the same year, but his work remained neglected for several years because it was not discussed, it was not popularized, etc. Because when we come to Mendelian genetics, you will know these are the first principles or first laws that explains or gives us an idea about how traits are being inherited. So previously there were many philosophers or the Greek philosophers, etc. Their thinkings or their thoughts were being, their philosophies were being propagated, how inheritance, how the characters were inherited. But a scientific explanation was given by Mendel, even though there were many faults in his, there were many the misconceptions in his experiments, but it was considered to be the first scientifically proven evidence for how inheritance or how characters are inherited to the offsprings. And this remained after or even after his death, after so many years. That means it is somewhat in the early 20th century, by 1900s, his principles or his laws were brought to light by De Vries and his colleagues who were working in the same field. They were working in Drosophila, and their experiments proved to be similar to the works of Mendel, and that is when his experiments or Mendelian experiments came to light. Till then, it was a completely neglected area. So it is the point when genetics came into a limelight of scientific experiments, etc., and from then begin the journey of genetics. So as we said, the Mendelian experiments were mainly on pea plants, and here are the reasons why he selected this particular plant for his experiments. So the plant was easy to cultivate. It completes its growth in one season. As a result, one generation can be studied in one season, and because of that, in 4 to 5 years, many generations, the inheritance pattern of many generations can be studied in 2 to 3 years. Then pea plant is normally self-fertilizing, but cross-fertilization is also possible because their stamens can be removed and easily transferred. And the plant is also have sharply defined inherited differences. That means the color differences, shape differences, etc. They are evident, clearly evident. Then it also, and he could also keep a track onto each character separately. So each character could be, that is an extension of the third point, that is because of the sharply defined characters, you can, in a monohybrid, as we discussed earlier, in a monohybrid cross, if we conduct a monohybrid cross, we can clearly follow the pattern of a single character. In Mendelian studies or Mendelian experiments, he considered 7 characters in P-plan. He conducted experiments only with 7 characters of P-plan, which is shown in the table. In seed, he conducted experiments with the type of form of the seed, whether it is round or wrinkled, then the type of cotyledons, whether color of the cotyledons, whether it is yellow, green. Then coming to flower, he checked the color of the flower, whether it is white or red or violet. Then coming to the pod, in pod he considered the form of the pod, whether it is full or wrinkled, the color yellow or green. And coming to the stem, he considered flower position and also the size or the length of the plant, etc. So these are the 7 characters which was experimented by Mendel in pea plants. So these are the reasons why Mendel selected pea plant for his experiments. And coming to the reasons for Mendel's success in the experiments, because not only Mendel was interested in experimenting with inheritance in his time, there were many people who were experimenting to prove how inheritance occurs and how the characters are transferred to the offsprings. But only Mendel could successfully experimentally demonstrate inheritance pattern. So the main reasons for his success was Mendel's approach was simple, logical, mathematical, and analytical. And in his experiment, Mendel confined his attention to the inheritance of a character or two, but all the others which were doing the experiments, they viewed the organism as a whole. So that is one of the failures met by others. That means when they conducted crosses which was similar that was conducted by Mendel, they considered the inheritance pattern completely. That means when they consider the inheritance pattern, they'll be looking all the characters at the same time. That means after a cross, they will be looking on to the flower color, the length of the plant, then the pod color, pod shape, etc. together. So that was the reason for failure for the others, but the success came to Mendel because he did not check the inheritance pattern of more than 2 characters at a time. So he was interested, or his experiments were confined to monohybrid and dihybrid crosses. And he counted all the progeny resultant from a cross, thus making the inheritance something that can be quantified. That is also another reason for success of Mendel's experiment. That is because of his mathematical, because he was exposed to mathematical experiments in the University of Vienna. And that was the reason why he was interested in experimenting with the mathematical calculations. What he did was he counted all the progeny resulted from a cross. As a result, inheritance could be something, or inheritance was made something that can be quantified. So for say he was observing flower color and seed color or seed shape, whatever it be. Both these characters are actually qualitative, color and shape. We get the color, that means whether it is white, red, the shape, whether it is round, wrinkled, etc. But what Mendel did was he converted that qualitative character into a quantitative one, where he counted and he noted the numbers of all the offsprings with that particular character, and that resulted in quantification of a qualitative character. As a result, the experiments or the result of the experiment could be correctly interpreted when it is quantified. And he also kept accurate record of all the members of the successive generation. As a result, he could trace from bottom to top. That means if he did a particular experiment with a monohybrid cross with a single character for something around 15 generation, his recordings were so perfect that from the 15th generation he could go back and check what happened in the first generation, even though it might happen 4 years or 5 years after. So 15th generation of the pea plant means, of the particular pea plant means, it might take something around 3 years or 4 years. So in that 3 to 4 years, after the result of the 15th generation, he could go back. His recordings was so clear and perfect that he could go back successive generations and find out what happened in the first generation. So these were the reasons for Mendelian success, for the Mendelian experiments. Before discussing Mendelian laws and principles, so we have two laws of Mendel and two principles. So everything will be dealt in the name of law. Actually, two are principles and the other two are considered as Mendelian's first law and Mendelian second law. So we'll before discussing that, because all these laws and principles is based on two crosses, two types of crosses, not two crosses, two types of crosses, monohybrid as well as dihybrid cross. So before moving into this laws, in this video or this session, we will be looking on to what is a monohybrid cross and what is a dihybrid cross and what are their results, etc. And after that, we'll discuss the laws and principles of Mendelian experiment. So to begin with, the monohybrid cross. So in a monohybrid cross, what Mendel did was, as we discussed the definition earlier, it is a cross considering one pair of contrasting characters and two plants. So in all of the Mendel's experiment, his first generation of plant or the parent plant will be pure breeding. So the term should be noted, which is pure breeding. So a plant, when Mendel consider it for a cross, the first parents of a particular cross, he took those plants, or he confirmed that those plants were pure breeding for a particular trait. So what is pure breeding for a trait? So pure breeding is nothing but, if he is taking a particular plant which is having the flower color red, he confirmed that that particular plant produces only red color flowers in any successive generation. That means he will self-fertilize that particular plant. As we discussed earlier, pea plants are usually self-fertilized. So what he did is, he took a plant with a red color, he will self-fertilize it, he will create some 5 to 6 generations in that plant, and he will confirm that that particular plant does not produce any other color of flowers. The same with the other contrasting. So in every experiment, Mendel took a particular trait and the contrasting characters of that particular trait. Contrasting in the sense, if we take the flower color white, it will not be shades of if Mendel took a particular flower color red, the other flower color will not be shades of red. He took a completely contrasting character which is white. So that he could identify whether it is getting mixed, etc. Or if he took the same the shades of the same, it would be difficult to identify how it is expressed in the offspring. That is why he took contrasting characters. So these two terminologies should be mentioned in every Mendelian experiment. That is, the first parent plants that usually Mendel took for his experiments was pure breeding, and they were contrasting characters. So whatever character, as we saw in the previous slide, he took 7 different characters. So here you can see the different contrasting characters. So these two. So here in the table, these are the two types of contrasting characters that he observed, or he took considered for his experiments. So if the flower color is white, he will be taking the other color will be purple. Here also the pod color yellow and green, so that there was clear distinction between the two parent characters which were considered for the crosses, so that he could identify them in the successive crosses. So that are the two things to be noted in Mendelian, in discussing Mendelian experiments. The parent plants, when Mendel considered for a cross, will be pure breeding, and they will be having contrasting characters. So coming to the Mendelian or the monohybrid cross, so we'll first see about some of the rules when you are writing a or you are doing a particular cross. or you are noting down a particular cross. So you can see that some alphabets are being marked here as P, F1, F2, etc. Okay, and this is nothing but these left side, in the left side of a cross, what you usually write is what is being represented towards us. So you write in the left side is the short form of what is represented in the right side. So here P stands for parents. Usually the first one is P1. You should have, they should have, because this is an image, they have marked it differently. So P, instead of P, it might have put as P1, which is for parent one. So we will make it as parent one. So this is P1. Okay, so this is considered to be P1. This is of the first generation, and this is the gametes which is produced, that will be denoted as G1, and F1 is the first filial generation, that is F. That is the first set of offspring is called as the first filial generation. That is why it is denoted as F1, means it is the first generation. The same thing goes for the other parent for the second generation, then gametes for the second generation, and F2, which will be the second filial generation. So here they have actually changed some of the depictions in the shapes, etc. So in normal cases, when we write Mendelian or monohybrid process, what we do is that to distinguish between gametes and parents, what we actually do is that here there is a small difference in the representation that is given here. That means in the case of parents, what you do is, if it is P1, as I am taking it as capital Y is a parent, and when you mark the gametes are usually represented in circles. When you write a particular cross, gametes are usually circled, and here you can see that this is the genotype. As we said earlier, this is a genotype, and here you can see that both are the same. This is homozygous and capital letter. As a result, it is homozygous dominant. So in this homozygous dominant one, as we said, this produces only a single type of gamete, and that will be capital Y. Okay, the same with the other contrasting character, small y, which is green. It produces another, or it produces a single type of gamete, which is small y. And when you cross them, these two characters will come into the F1 generation. You get a particular individual as capital Y, small y. And according to Mendel, what he says that in the F1 generation, when you do such a cross, in the F1 generation, the character which is expressed, whatever character is being expressed, will be considered as dominant. So in this case, when you cross, you get capital Y and small y. The character which is expressed here is yellow. Yellow will be the color, even though these plants are having small y in them. Yellow is the color of the color which is being expressed here. As a result, yellow is taken as dominant, and this one, that's why you put it as capital Y, and this is the green one is denoted as small y. So this is the first generation, or the F1 generation in the case with the monohybrid cross. So we will not stop with F1. So this was a cross, and this was cross fertilization between two plants. You had a yellow plant here, a yellow seed, a yellow flower, or a yellow seed color plant, and the other one which is of green, and we crossed it. We got the F1 generation, and all the F1 plants are having yellow. There are many F1 plants. All the F1 plants are yellow. And now what you do is, in Mendelian experiments, what you do is you cross in the next, to get the next generation F2, you cross F1 into F1. That means it is self-fertilization, or self-fertilization of the plants with yellow seeds. So in self-fertilization, what you can see here is So this is the result of self-fertilization, what is shown here. So after self-fertilization, what you can see is, as this particular plan, we'll write this. Okay, so we'll write the entire cross now of the monohybrid. So I am taking P1. We had a yellow cross green, and you had the gametes. This one being homozygous dominant produces only one type. This one being homozygous recessive only one type. When you cross them, F1, you get capital Y, small y. And now we are going to, so this is going to be the parents of the next generation. Okay, so this is the cross that is going to be conducted in capital Y, small y, capital Y, small y. So now what happens is, being parent to, I'm demarcating it, being parent to, which is capital Y, small y, cross capital Y, small y. So what happens is, this is a heterozygous condition, and we said in the heterozygous, Mendel explained a dominant character by looking at the F1 generation or the F1 heterozygote. In the F1 generation, even though the F1 plants are having the trait for green color, yellow is being expressed in every offsprings produced. It is not one offspring. Every offspring produced here, that means 100% of the offsprings produced will be yellow. And in such a case, he termed, or he coined, or he called the yellow trait or the yellow allele as dominant and the green allele as recessive. That is why the how you designate the characters to be dominant and recessive. And now coming to this one, being a heterozygote, this will produce two different types of gametes. So whenever you see a particular genotype to be heterozygote, it is to be taken in mind that it will be producing two different type of gametes. Two different type of gamete in the sense, this capital Y is one type of allele, and this will be the other type. The same with the other, capital Y and small y. So now these are these are homologous pairs of chromosomes. So what when you put it as gametes, we are representing the gametes which is a resultant after meiosis. Okay, we have discussed meiosis in the introductory sessions. So what happens here is, being homologous chromosome, why we depict it in two different gametes is that they are homologous chromosome, and during anaphase 1 they will be separated into two different cells, and they will come as two different they will be coming in two different gametes. That's why we are representing capital Y and small y in two different gametes. These are homologous chromosomes. They separate during meiosis. Okay, so this is what happens. And in the cross, you can either put it as a table, like you can go for a table like this for easiness. You can mark the gametes, capital Y here, small y here of one parent, capital Y of one parent here, and small y of other parent, cross. So in each one, what has been in the left hand side and the top, you can write it in this column. So this will be capital Y, capital Y. This will be capital Y and small y. This will be, here it is small y, and here you are having capital Y. So this will be capital Y from top and small y from bottom. This will be small y, small y. So now we are having three different genotypes. The three different genotype in the sense that you have one homozygous dominant for yellow and two heterozygous dominant for yellow, one homozygous recessive which is green. Is that clear? So if you take the phenotype, these three, if we are considering the phenotype, this three plants will be yellow and this will be green. So this will be green. So 3 yellow is to 1 green. That is the phenotypic ratio. Color is the phenotype. So phenotypic ratio is 3 is to 1. And the genotypic ratio, as we can see, you have one homozygous dominant YY, you have two heterozygotes, and you have one homozygous recessive. So The genotypic ratio in the case of a monohybrid cross is 1:2:1. So this is a simple representation of what is being shown there. So coming back to this, so here just the representations, only the representations are quite misleading here. They have put the gametes as diamonds. Actually, gametes are put in circles. The other, when you write it, you will not put many shapes here to because it is a diagrammatic representation. They have given many different shapes. Actually, you put only the gametes in circles. So here they have put gametes in diamonds. So here you can see the same as we depicted here. There are two types of gametes will be produced. Produces two kinds of gametes. You have self-pollination, that is what is called as self-fertilization of F1 offspring, produces F2 offsprings of the ratio 3:1 of yellow to green seeds. 3 yellow and 3 green seeds. Here you can see 1:2:1 is the genotypic ratio, 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio. So this is what is called as the our monohybrid cross. So in monohybrid cross, one more thing is to be noted is that when you do the cross, which is F2, that is capital Y small y cross capital Y small y, we said we get two gametes, two types of gametes. We have capital Y one gamete, small y from this, capital Y from this, and small y from the other. So we can also represent it in another form. This capital Y will have a chance to cross with these two. That is what we represent it in a table. This can also be represented like this. Okay, the table is the table or the Punnett, that is called as a Punnett square. That is one type of representation. You can also represent it in this way. So this will be capital Y, capital Y. This will be capital Y, small y. So if you cross this also had the chances to mix with these two, capital Y and small y. This also have the same chance, small y, small y. So this is another type of representation of representing your F2 generation. So this will be the F2. So here you can see this is the 3 yellow and this is the 1 green. You can see 1:2:1, which is the genotypic ratio. So this is about the monohybrid cross. We will see the dihybrid cross in the next video or the next session.